Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the news of Don Waddell being hired as a Columbus Blue Jackets GM and getting into that a bit. So before we do that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So yes, yesterday night we saw Don Waddell be announced as a Columbus Blue Jackets GM, and this comes after the team parted ways with Jarmo Kekalainen after over a decade on the job. They actually ended up firing him during the course of the regular season, and we'll get into that a little bit. But this is obviously a big job to fill for a team that is struggling, and Waddell luckily is no stranger to the NHL as a GM, as he was a long-standing GM with the Atlanta Thrashers, and then recently, up until less than a week ago, was the GM for the Carolina Hurricanes before he ended up resigning. And that's kind of a weird situation, but in his time with Carolina, things went really well, as you would see playoff berths, you would see division titles, you would see deep runs. All of those things are signs of an organization that is doing pretty well, at least in that time. And with this, you now are entering a very weird period where you go from being, more towards the top of the NHL in the standings and expectations and whatnot, to being down at the bottom, as the Blue Jackets have had a really bad spell as of late. And how bad have things been for Columbus in recent years? Well, they haven't made the playoffs in 4 seasons in the past 2 years. They've combined for 52 wins in both of the past 2 seasons. They finished last in the Metropolitan Division, been a bottom feeder for sure, and it's just kind of been a rough go of it, as they had to drop off from 81 points to where they are now, where they are a team that is firmly outside of a playoff spot, where it seems like even hitting 70 points isn't a lock for a season. And the good news for Don is if he's trying to make this team competitive, there are some pieces here that could help him do so. A lot of young talent that could get them where they want to be. And that's really what it's all about, trying to make this team competitive again. Now, looking at all this, I'm going to just say that I don't know every single prospect. I don't know how all these guys are doing all at once. I don't typically get too thrilled, I guess, if you will, looking at how guys are doing in the minors or in juniors, whatever, because I'm more focused on how they're going to do in the NHL. You could do really well at CHL level, but not thrive in the NHL. So that is just one of those deals where I'm just going to go out and admit that. But looking at what we saw last year, we did see some guys that were at the NHL level that were able to get goals. Specifically, looking at this, kind of an interesting stat, 4 of the 5 top goal scorers for Columbus last season were 23 years old or younger at the start of the season. So kind of having some of that youth right there to lead the way is certainly a good thing. Now, I will say on the flip side, if you are somebody that thinks that having a young team with a lot of talent is going to transition automatically into being a playoff team, not necessarily the case, as this season the 9 youngest teams in the league failed to make the playoffs. And you do have to remember too that a lot of people will say, oh, this guy scored 20 goals in this season and he's younger, so he's going to turn into this sort of player. Not necessarily. Again, as a player's minutes can be reduced, the quality of his team, his line mates, could be reduced. And we have to understand, this team failed to crack 70 points this year, and while there could be growth, not everybody is going to turn out to be a star. That being said, again, there are a lot of other things to worry about just than developing the youth and trying to make this team be competitive, as they were a team that was really bad defensively. They had the 2nd highest shots against per 60 in the league at 5-on-5 play, and were not a team that was able to score the way they wanted. Their power play percentage was 31st in the league last year. The PK percentage was also not good. And again, kind of transitioning back to the defensive play, I did a whole video not too long ago about how the Columbus Blue Jackets goalies were struggling, mainly because there were so many chances against them that they had to face. And you are seeing a team that is right now not going to be an immediate fix for Don, and I guess that's kind of my thoughts on all of this. As if you expect this team to be a playoff team within 2 years, I would say that that's not a super realistic goal in the short term, as this is a team that's even seeing their big name players not be able to produce maybe the way they're hoping to, where you are seeing a lot of those younger guys end up being towards the top of goal scoring and things like that. You are seeing players like Johnny Gaudreau especially that have not had a good run of it. The season before he came to Columbus, he had 40 goals in Calgary, and he has a combined 32, if I did that correctly, over his past 2 years with the Blue Jackets. And it's not like he's missed a lot of times. He's played over 80 games in both of those years, and has been a guy that scored 12 goals this season. Huge concern for somebody that had scored 30 goals or more in 3 seasons in his time with the Flames. Obviously some of these things are deeper or bigger than hockey, with Laine taking time away, but Zach Werenski's been dealing with injuries and things of that nature, and you're just trying to figure out, again, what you're going to be working with and how maybe to utilize some of these players. Again, Johnny Gaudreau, probably one of those names where you want to figure out exactly what to do with him, especially with him getting the money. And again, I don't know, Don has certainly got a lot of work to do. But as always, if you are talking about trying to make a team competitive, you know that Rome wasn't built in a day. And this is, again, something that the front office is going to have to understand, something that the ownership is going to have to understand, that this team, especially with how the East and just really the whole league looks right now, is not going to be just a quick turnaround. And I know it's been hard in recent years not making the playoffs after having a good bit of success in the 2010s. But this is where they are right now. They have a young team that can draw in some fans and get people to go to games. It's not like they are a really old team that is just really bad. They have those pieces, and hopefully Don at the draft can do well. Hopefully he can figure out some good value signings to make this team better. And hopefully, again, some of their stars can go out there and produce the way that they are hoping. Maybe Zach Greinke can go out there and have a 20-plus goal season. Maybe Patrick Laine can go out there and have a full year where he is in a good place mentally and just, can have at least 30 goals or something like that. Johnny Gaudreau could be a point per game guy like they're hoping. They can, improve special teams. They can go out there and be better defensively, because even if they were just, average defensively, I'd imagine the results are going to be better. Is this a team that's going to go out there and hit 35 wins next year? I couldn't tell you, but again, we're looking broader picture here. Don is going to have to make them competitive through the draft, and he is going to have to make sure these young guys are developed properly, and he has everybody around him that is going to be suited for the long-term future. But I don't exactly know how this is all going to go. Hoping for the best. Maybe they will be the future Carolina Hurricanes. Not exactly sure if fans are going to be thrilled with it, if that means that they aren't winning a championship. But for Columbus fans that haven't seen a lot of playoff success, this probably wouldn't be a bad deal to say, hey, you're going to win division titles, you're going to go to multiple conference finals. They probably wouldn't be mad with that if that was the worst case scenario. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the hiring? Do you think that the Blue Jackets will end up seeing success under Don? Do you think that it'll be in the near-term future? Do you think it'll be in the long-term future? Do you think that no success will end up coming from this and they will be a team that has spent, 10 years outside the playoffs with nothing to show for it? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Hey, have a great night. And go Valky, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.